Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today I have an energy drink. And I just want to talk a little bit about the things people don't tell you when you start smoking cigars. There's a lot of things you hear. Things like they're not healthy for you. Parenthetically, depends who you ask, what studies you look at, things like that. But I'm not here about that. I'm here to talk about the things as a beginner you don't hear when you start smoking cigars. For example, the first thing people don't tell you when you start smoking cigars is you will accidentally start a collection, not just of the cigars, but of lighters and cutters and tools that you will use to cut light, help draw out your cigar. You also collect humidors. You won't mean to, but it'll happen over time, especially if you're a person who smokes multiple times a week or day. So you become a collector of sorts, a hoarder of sorts. You don't mean to do this. You go to your local B&M, they throw in a free cutter. You order some cigars online, you get a lighter with it. Over time, you just keep getting them. And you don't give them away, you don't throw them away, because they're a little bit hard to maintain as far as the proper ways of disposing of lighters, especially once you've put butane in it. So you have them. And that's that. The second thing people don't tell you when you start smoking cigars, maybe you've heard the first part of this, but always buy a humidor bigger than the one you think you'll need. That's true. But the part maybe you don't hear or no one tells you is that once the bigger humidor is bought, you need to actually keep a bigger collection of cigars on hand at all times, or else the humidor will start to lose its humidity control. Now, this doesn't happen with every humidor, but it's always a good idea to keep humidors at least at half capacity or more, 65% capacity. So for example, if you have a humidor that can hold 50 cigars, you should probably keep at least 30 cigars in that humidor. But if you buy a bigger humidor, because you feel you're outgrowing your 50 cigar humidor, and it can hold 250, well, the 30 you used to be able to keep as like a always staple amount of cigars now has to be probably closer to 115, 120. And it doesn't mean you can't smoke them, it just means that you have to watch your humidity levels a little bit more once you start emptying out that humidor. God forbid you buy a 4,000 count humidor that can hold boxes of cigars, and then you don't have the money for the boxes you need to buy. So that's something that you don't hear about. Is it a bad thing? No. Is it something you should be prepared for? Absolutely, especially if you're new to the hobby and you think you may grow in that way. Another thing people don't tell you, you'll start having a little bit of a Spanish vocabulary. You'll pick up on words that you use a lot, that you get curious about what they mean, and you'll start to remember them. If I weren't a cigar smoker, I wouldn't know anything about the word ligero. I wouldn't know anything about the word maduro, añejo, puro. These words have meaning in a different way in my brain now than just if I picked up a sheet of Spanish words to study for vocabulary. I know what they mean because I care about what they mean. Also, you start learning a little bit of geography. I would have never heard of places like Jalapa, Esteli. So you learn a little bit of geography, you learn a little bit of Spanish, you become a little bit more worldly, and that's nice. The last thing I want to talk about is something you hear about, but it's not something you truly understand until you are fully immersed in the lifestyle. Cigar smoking is a lifestyle, definitely, and people tell you that. And maybe in the beginning you call it a hobby. It's more than that because there's so much that goes into it. There's a process of purchasing and collecting, the process of some people go through of growing, the process of picking out the perfect one for your afternoon. It's a social construct. It's not a construct, I'm sorry. It's a social thing. even if it's virtual, you just have a virtual lounge. It's also a meditative thing, it's a relaxing thing. It's less about needing a fix on something and more about the ritual behind that thing. So that maybe you've heard, but you'll truly grow to understand that once you've smoked more cigars. So that's a couple things that maybe you haven't heard about in the cigar smoking world. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. And I'm gonna finish this while you do so. Check out, I have plenty of other videos. Also, very soon, me and a group of guys are starting a podcast. We're already getting things ramped up. We haven't had our first episode at this moment, but if you wanna go ahead and follow our YouTube and our Instagram, those links will be in the description below. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.